What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to another Tuffy Talk live show, y'all. We are feeling good. We are loving life right now. And we can I can easily say without the shadow of a doubt that this 2023-2024 athletic year for NC State is by far, no question about it, been the greatest athletic year probably in state history, man. I'm not the historian, maybe the Tim Peeler is per se, but I mean, throughout my knowledge, man, I just between football, going 9-4, between uh men's and women's basketball going to the Final Four, men's winning ACC championship, now baseball, pretty much, they are locked into a regional host seed. They're right now competing for a top 8 possible national seed, which would be huge. Combined with everything else going on with men's and women's tennis both being top 15, top 20 teams in the country. The list goes on. Gymnastics winning 2 ACC championships. Like, again, the list can go on. I don't think that's really much of a conversation. Anybody say nay on that here?
I don't know, man. I think that thing's pretty good. I think winning a national championship in basketball gives really high weight to it. But when you consider the whole athletic program department, I probably could go. I probably think I'd be willing to go there.
Yeah. Appreciate, first of all, Razor and Michelle already in the chat. Make sure, again, y'all, any questions, thoughts, comments, make sure to get them in the chat. Let us know as well if you agree or if you think that a different year actually might be a little bit better. And yes, I mean, definitely we didn't have we did have a cross country national championship though, making to push back on that a little bit. So
one of the greatest athletes ever in NC State history. So
no, absolutely. So with that being said, Wolfpack Nation, we got a ton to get to here today. And actually, after this live show, we're going to be doing a quick ACC tournament preview as well. So we'll be talking a good amount of baseball for sure. And yep, Greg is locked and loaded and ready to go. But definitely want to make sure we touch on everything that we have, because we have a ton to get to. So let's start off a little bit of fun, shall we, before we jump into some baseball here. So this Raleigh Red came up with this graphic here a couple days ago, where basically on the red side you have Bojangles, Cookout, and Jimmy John's. On the blue side said Chick-fil-A, Char Grill, or Jersey Mike's. And which side of the fence are you? And now I know that Greg brought up a point that he doesn't like to pick a blue color. So what we'll do is, for the sake of this, we'll pretend that instead of blue that Raleigh Red uses the white side. So the red and white side.
Why didn't that would have been that would have been just fine.
I agree. Hey, listen, he's trying.
He's going Matrix, red pill, blue pill.
He or she is trying. Definitely we'll give it matter of fact. But you let us know, first of all, in the comments, y'all. Are you on the red side or the blue / what we'll call white side? So here, Michael, which side are you on this, since you said this is a good one?
I mean, it's tough. I think I gotta go red. I mean, Bojangles and Cookout,
trash.
What's the here?
That's 2 out of 3. I would take Jersey Mike's over Jimmy John's, but Bojangles and Cookout over Chick-fil-A and Char Grill.
Okay. Yeah, but just remind everybody once again, so on the red side, you have Bojangles, Cookout, Jimmy John's. Blue side, Chick-fil-A, Char Grill, Jersey Mike's. Greg, you are immediately no, sir. Why is that?
Well, I mean, remember, like, was it 2 years ago we went to Clemson? That was like the second time I ever had Bojangles. So not really, I could kick rocks on Bojangles. It doesn't matter to me. Chick-fil-A is the Lord's chicken, and you don't mess with the Lord's chicken. So for that reason alone, I take Chick-fil-A in that column. And Char Grill Cookout, I don't think I've ever eaten at Char Grill. So I've had Cookout. It's fine. But again, Chick-fil-A, Bojangles. And then just the one that just puts it over the top for me is Jersey Mike's over Jimmy John's. Jimmy John's is just a bread and a cheese sandwich with like a piece of meat in there. So I don't care if it's super fast. It's super gross.
Yeah. No, agree. Megan, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, man, it's tough for me. I easily go Jersey Mike's over Jimmy John's.
Okay.
They have one sub at Jimmy John's that I've tried that I've liked, and it wasn't something I was like, I have to go back and get that. So
Big kahuna all day at Jersey Mike's.
I get Jersey Mike's once a week, to be honest with you. I love Jersey Mike's. I get the mini. Right now, it's the mini number 5 for me, which is a lesser version of the 13. Which is the Italian. Cookout char grill, to me, this is an easy call. It's Cookout, right? I had actually had char grill for the first time that I can't remember in a long time, maybe ever, a week or two ago, and their burgers aren't even like burgers. They're like sub-like burgers. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen them. They're not circular. They're like
square
hoagies almost. Like they're
okay.
It's weird. So, and it wasn't that great of a burger anyway. So Cookout there, but then man, I think I gotta go white side or whatever you're gonna go because I love Bojangles, but Chick-fil-A has my heart, like in terms of like those waffle fries with the chicken, and I can get for me, I can get extra pickles on the chicken sandwich. I like doing it when I open it up and like drizzling the barbecue sauce on it. Man, that is so good to me. I gotta go white side, man.
So for me, I'm telling you, I'm literally right smack in the middle, and here's why. So yes, for sure, making Cookout over char grill all day long, twice on Tuesday, twice on Thursday, twice on Saturday, no doubt about it. But I'm definitely on the Jersey Mike side versus Jimmy John's, and I'm on the Chick-fil-A side versus Bojangles. But I'm also pulled because like Bojangles is like my go-to tailgate food. Like,
yeah, it's
going to
better
concerts,
tailgate food.
it is a great. Like, getting a bunch of biscuits and a bunch of chicken supremes and a big thing of fries and some honey mustard. Oh,
they prepare it better for tailgating than you can bring Chick-fil-A to the tailgate, but the way that Bojangles sets it up for you, it's a lot.
Are you about to argue, Greg, that Chick-fil-A is a better tailgate food than Bojangles? Are you really about to go there?
No, you know where I'm going to go? Where X Factor.
No,
here.
you have two choices.
I know.
Here,
I have
Greg.
the X Factor. I have the X Factor.
Okay, it's because you're Greg the Leg and you have the beard and you
No.
can just
I'm going to bring it back to sports. There's no Bojangles bowl. There's a Chick-fil-A bowl.
Oh, okay.
So, Greg, what if there was a Bojangles bowl?
I wouldn't go to it.
Oh, I would totally.
Maybe that's what they should name the NC State UNC game, the Bojangles Bowl.
The Bojangles Bowl. I like that. Did you guys hear like LA just got their first Bojangles? Like they're actually making it in California.
I think I saw some might be wrong. I thought I saw some like 40 locations opening up in California or the West Coast, something like that. But
yeah.
And then I think there's a place there's one from the West coming out here. I know they've got the Buc-ee's gas station over in Mebane near Layton.
Yeah, I'm about to get a Buc-ee's up here.
I'm trying to derail the conversation, but yeah, I go white. I don't know, man. Bojangles tailgate food, to Michael's point. Yeah. I don't even think Chick-fil-A when I think in tailgating. So
I agree.
Here's my thing with Bojangles, and we'll end it here unless someone has a something else. They just don't have spicy chicken. Like I love spicy chicken, and so like I can get spicy chickens at Popeye, and so if you gave me because we have had the tailgate box with like 4,000 pieces of chicken wings in it or whatever it has in it, and it is right. I mean they give you a nice little container to carry it in. They package it well, but I want that spicy chicken, and then you can tell me you can put hot sauce on it, but it's just not the same.
Yeah, Razor's got my back. It was in and out. Appreciate that.
Now coming to North Carolina, that'd be
which
big.
Honestly, I've tried that too, and I'm not crazy about it. Like I've tried Whataburger. I wasn't crazy about that. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but.
Alrighty. Well, we had fun there with that. So with that being said, there is no right side, but hey, fun conversation. And
there was a right side. It was the white side. That was literally on the right side.
You can be white or wrong.
You gotta be white or wrong. So North Wolf asked the question. I'm seeing that we're right now number 12 in the Directors Cup ranking standings. Have we ever finished higher than that? No, we have not. I think we cracked the top 20 one time.
17, I think, is the best.
17 a couple years ago, and we're well poised to potentially squeak into a top 10, which would be just ridiculous to even consider. But I mean, we're definitely there in that realm, no doubt. So alrighty. So Greg, I mean, pretty bland weekend, right? I mean, just can't really say too much, right? Nothing really big happened that you can think of.
No, just just an ordinary weekend, just
sweeping the
deeks.
It's gotten business as usual now.
Just sweeping the deeks. So we haven't necessarily moved on Tuffy's tweet of the week already, but I just want to bring up the stats or rankings here. I apologize here, as for Baseball America, we've moved up to number 7 from number 9. D1 baseball moved up 5 spots to number 12, and in the RPI we moved up 6 spots to number 14. And this will kind of lead us into our true next segment, which will be what really grinds my gears. But do you know, for me, I feel like that's generally where we stand, borderline top 10 team right now. I think that's fair for us, in terms of where we currently are and what we've done this season. But listen, at the end of the day, just go take care of business ACC tournament. That's really kind of where I am right now. But Greg, any initial standouts, or would you say that rankings wise that's pretty fair for where in-state is right now?
Yeah, pull it back up. I was looking up the Directors Cup, and it was 17th that we did. So
Baseball America, we were up to number 7. D1 baseball, we were up to number 12.
So this is the first time, because I know this was a point of contention for Macon last week. It might have been your grind your gears, if I'm not mistaken, Macon, about the disparity in the rankings. They're actually kind of a little bit closer this week.
There's not much room to go, as I'm getting at. At some point, it's going to start to level out. But
I think it's pretty spot on.
I actually was doing average here in my head. I was doing average in my head. The average right there between those rankings, 7, 12, and 14, is 13, if I'm not mistaken, or close to it. Or, rather than it's right around 13. Yeah, right at 13. So that 12 is actually a little bit better than the average there.
Yeah, and that's right around where our RPI is. I think, what is our RPI at now? Like 10, 11?
I think 14.
Yeah, and I think our strength of schedule is at 4. So, you look at all that. I think it's right where it needs to be. I don't think I don't see one, because last week we were at 9 and 1, and then like 17 or 18 in another, and I think they're definitely tightening up as we get to the end of the season. And then Wake Forest was losing their mind with the D1 rankings. Like, how could they drop 8 spots, losing to us? And, I don't have any problems with ours. But
I think in D1 baseball they dropped like 14 spots. They dropped from 8 to 22.
Yeah. And I think some of that is perception, because they went from 15 and 12 in the ACC to 15 and 15 in the ACC. So it's like 500 record is, I know it's the ACC. It's probably best or second best conference, but still, it's like, being above 500 looks a lot better.
Well, to that point, 18 and 12 versus 15 and 15, right? That was the potential that they were looking at coming into the weekend series.
Yeah, and just real quick, I had said it was the average was 13 because I was adding in the RPI 14 to that calculation, so that's not a correct number. But still, at some point, you're going to try to level out, and the 12 was fine.
What does it average out to?
Well, 7, 12 is 19 divided by 2 is 9.5, so you're looking at 9 or 10. So you're kind of below average with D1 baseball based on that ranking. But I mean, again, it's the standard deviation is going to go lower.
I think D1 is still holding it against us, that we broke the whole picks for UVA. So I think they're holding that against us.
So side note, was the last series we lost Louisville or Georgia Tech? I can't remember, honestly. It's been that long.
Louisville was after Georgia Tech.
Yeah,
Louisville
that was
Final Four weekend.
Yeah.
So Final Four weekend was the last time we lost a series against the ACC team in conference. That's kind of crazy, guys. That's over a month ago.
Yeah, and we played one out of conference series during that time period too with Ball State,
and we swept them. So
I mean, they're hitting right at the right time, and part of me wonders, and I feel like it's the way to do it, but like. How does State take this into ACC tournament play? And for me, to be honest, I think particularly the way their bullpen is pitching and the way their lineup as a whole is hitting right now, it's kind of evening out on offense how they're doing. And I mean, I think they got a really good shot, and I really like the draw they have. And I won't go into too much there because I don't know where you want to go with the moderating of this, but Leighton. But that's just I really like what they've done in this series and how they're building and building.
Oh yeah.
I just hope the law of averages doesn't kick in, because they've won so much. I wonder if it will kick in. Did they peak just a little too early? That's a thought of mine, but
and again, I mean, like at the end of the day, the law of averages doesn't apply to wins and losses. I mean, because obviously, you know, but in terms of a game by game approach, the one thing I would say is in terms of the law of averages from a game to game, I would say Friday our bats were killing. I mean, just we could hit we could
Thursday.
Sorry, Thursday. Game one. Sorry. Yeah. Game one. I mean, we could have hit. I mean, we could have hit a you know, we could have. We were just red freaking hot, man. I know I couldn't even come up with a metaphor, but we were red freaking hot. and then obviously on Friday you were going against Chase Banks, which I mean Chase Burns. Sorry,
you can call him Chase Banks because that dude is.
That's a good nickname. That's
Chase
a good
Banks.
nickname.
Yeah, Chase Burns. Which I mean, even Elliot Avent deemed, in his opinion, the greatest college baseball pitcher of all time, which I was like, that's quite the saying for somebody who's
he said Chase Burns is the greatest ever
all time. I mean, definitely this year, but
I mean, he was the national pitcher of the year last year. And he transferred from Tennessee to
I didn't know
Tennessee.
that.
It was Tennessee.
I'm not even saying that.
And again, that's why, like, honestly, whenever we were striking out against Burns, I mean, I couldn't do anything besides, I mean, what can you do? That dude's ridiculous. That dude can throw 99, 100 fastballs, and he has ridiculous movement on his sliders. Like he's borderline unhittable.
I'll mention it again in the ACC preview when we talk to different teams, but this is a dude that struck out 14 players against UNC and gave up 6 runs.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
he said a single game strikeout record the series before against Clemson at 16 strikeouts in a game.
Yeah.
I mean, how many? What's the max strikeouts you can get? Is it 27?
27. Yeah.
27. Yeah. If you go 9 innings. Yeah.
So he did what? You know, roughly 2/3.
Almost 2/3 because 18 would be 2/3.
That's just crazy. That's just crazy.
And they probably pulled him. He probably didn't pitch the whole game.
Right.
Yeah.
So
in how many innings?
Exactly. Yeah, he probably wouldn't know more than 6 or 7. I would guess. I don't know how they scored the 6 runs.
Yeah. So, I mean, so you get again. So you go cold batting wise, but not necessarily because of them, but just also partly because of who they were going against. And then Saturday, which is more of kind of a middle approach. So I mean, I would say in terms of, you know, law of averages, I mean, I think we're sitting pretty good to kind of go either way. But the other thing I would say to it as well is I think that Alex Sosa, who was a guy that at one point I think went like over 30 at bats without a hit. 39 at bats,
37 or 39, but regardless,
without a hit. And then now and again, we'll talk a little bit more about it here at Tweets of the Week. He's been killing it over the last 6 games. And then you got Noah Souls as well, who I think is a guy that, you know, he's coming back from injury, so he's kind of settling in still. But I mean, this was a guy that was your leadoff hitter to start the season, and even last season as well some. So, you know, he has potential to be even better than he already has been. But the other thing which I would say too as well is that everybody just seems locked in mentally. I mean, you would not know that this is a team that has as much injuries and has as many young guys as this team does. I mean, how many at-bats have we seen over the last couple of weeks where it's gone 3-2? I mean, you know, and the guys had the discipline to let the ball go by to get walked. You know, there's been a lot of really, really mature and smart, disciplined at bats, which is something that you love to see in freshmen. And we've seen a lot of that. So feeling pretty good there right now. But again, we'll talk more about the ACC tournament wise, but can't say enough about this team, how excited I am. So,
yeah. You look at this lineup, and again, we talked about it last week with the stats. They're not going to wow you. You know, we're 9-10 in most overall categories in all 3 disciplines, where that be hitting, pitching, or fielding.
Yep.
But this team they grind to your point, right? Like you had a walk-off in the 9th against the best pitcher in the country. And I know he got pulled in like the 6th or 7th inning, but
you still faced a closer too, who also only walked, I think, 1 guy the whole year.
Well, then that's where I'm going with it. Like he didn't walk all 4 of those batters, but you literally won on a walk-off because you walked 4 times.
Walk-off walk is what I've been calling it.
Yeah, exactly what it is. So to the point that you were making, Leighton, it's just these guys just found a way to get on base. And a couple of those at-bats were 3-2 type counts. And you know, whether it's Chase Nixon fouling off 20 pitches, and that's, you know, a little bit exaggeration, but you know, the kid just grinds, and that plate appearance where he gets the infield error against Wake Forest to tie the game at 1-1. That and Luke stealing a base and advancing, and I mean that literally was the definition of small ball, where they just found a way to get to scratch a run, just to hang around in the ninth, and take four batters and all of them walk to score a walk-off win. It's just gutsy. I mean, that's when I was joking with someone earlier today. I said, they asked me like what state chances, and I think my biggest concern is we start the ACC on a Wednesday. It's midweek. Now, granted, it's not an out of conference opponent, but it's a midweek game, right? And obviously, we're not going to approach it and play it like a typical midweek game. But that's the confidence that I have, that you can make a joke with this team at this point and feel confident in whatever they go out and do.
Yep, Michael, you got additional thoughts?
It's like the batting order is like, I wouldn't say perfectly constructed, but it's kind of built how you want, and guys are kind of executing their roles, right? You've got your top hitters are 1 through 5, and then the bottom of the order, they just kind of they don't have a lot of power, but I don't think Chase Nixon has hit a home run all season. I think he's still got 0, but those guys, they don't strike out. They get on base,
and they're young,
and they're young. And like Greg was saying, it was the bottom of the order that drew all those walks against Wake to get the win.
Well, and especially too, I mean, Sam Highfield's really started to come alive this season, be back to that Sam Highfield, which we fell in love with this time 3 years ago. But also too, I mean, Don Fritton, basically, you knew he had to. Basically, he was told going into Friday, if we want a chance to beat Wake Forest today, you're going to have to play a perfect game. Like there's near perfect game. And I mean, he was about as near perfect as
it was close.
Given him 1 earned run, I think only 3 hits in about 6 innings. So, I mean, just a great game by him. So, just love what we're seeing from him. Love what we're seeing from some of these relief guys. Love what you're seeing from Dudan and Derek Smith, who are kind of closer A and closer B. What seems like right now, and both of them are very high in their own ways. So, again, I mean, this team is constructed really well to be successful. I mean, I really have a hard time wrapping my head around this team losing 2 games in a regional, super regional format. That's my thing. I'm sitting here like there is not one day where you have an opportunity against on this day because they're a little bit more lacking in the in terms of starting. I mean, because again, you got 3 solid starters, you got a handful of solid relief pitchers who have each proved themselves in their own ways, and then you got 2 borderline closers as well. So it's a good time right now.
Here's something else we talked about, and I was just validating what I thought in my head already. Wake Forest had 6 errors this weekend. We had 1. So again, it's about putting the ball in play, putting pressure on the other team, make them go make a play. Because if you remember, Eli reaches first in game 3 on a wild throw. And ironically, he actually missed the base at first and he came back and tacked it. But
that
again,
was weird. I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just about going out and just making the small play. Nothing flashy, to Michael's point. You have these guys at the bottom of the order who have been our best hitters over the last 3 weekend series dating back to FSU. And they're literally turning over the lineup, and they're setting the table for that lineup. I can't tell you how many times Eli or Pennington or AMAC has come on with someone that's on base already from the bottom of the lineup. Or you had this weekend, and then you'll get to the tweet of the week where Sosa, the guys at the bottom of the lineup have reached on, and he's hitting a 2, 3, 4, RBI home run. It's just so again, not flashy, just getting it done, and I'll take that all day. Stats are for losers.
So with that being said, Wolfpack Nation, we'll take a pause there in terms of the big baseball talks. Again, we'll pick that up here in the ACC tournament baseball preview. We're going to be recording here right after the show, and we'll be out. We'll be out tomorrow. So make sure to stay tuned for that. But with that being said, let's move on to everybody's favorite segment of
what really grinds my gears?
You know, it really grinds my gears. And Greg, I know specifically, I mean, you pretty much made it public some that really grinded your gears, being that some, what was it? So basically, a Wake Forest fan sat in your buddies.
I had multiple Karens.
Wow. Wake Forest fans sit in your seats?
Yeah. Not my seats, my buddy's seats right behind me.
Okay.
He couldn't make the game this weekend, and they were sitting there, and there was not a darn thing I could do about it per Doak policy.
Because the policy right now is so once the 5th inning starts or after the 5th inning? Then
I was told once the 5th inning happens. So
then basically once the 5th inning happens, then any seats that are unoccupied can be occupied from outfield seaters, basically.
Yeah, or standing room only, folks.
Okay. Interesting.
You literally can buy a standing room only seat, and by the 5th inning have a prime time seat if it's not being occupied.
Yep. So so there was obviously talks about how the stadium upgrades will definitely probably help with that a little bit. Maybe no. Okay.
No, they're not adding seats.
Okay. Well. Not none. The capacity isn't going up at all. Oh. Okay.
They're just making it pretty. Okay. They're just making it pretty.
We need pretty. We need pretty. All right. Well, then guess what, Greg? You're going to have to suck it up, Buttercup. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm going to get it changed. Don't you worry.
Go for it, bud. I mean, listen, I'm here for it.
If Greg's random ever had any weight to pull, it's now, right? So,
yeah, you're going to cash in all those chips finally. But
I will move them all in.
But as somebody who's bought seats plenty of times up in those bleacher areas, I don't know, like, it's a fine seat. I don't know what the big deal is of people dying to go in. Like, hey, listen, if they said that we can't sit there, I'm okay with it. I get what I paid for. That's what I paid for.
That's my point, right? That's my point. I dropped $600 for 2 tickets, and how I choose to use my seats is how I choose to use them. If I don't want to sit in my seat and I want to go hang out somewhere else for half the game, like I do, but if I come to my seat and you're sitting in it, we're gonna have an issue, and I know the rule applies to state fans too, but it shouldn't apply to either side. You did not buy that.
It counts to your seat too. Like if
I could kick them out. I could kick them out. Yeah, because right. Legally, they could sit in my seat, but then I could kick them out because it's my seat. I haven't experienced that. That would be a fun experience. But yeah, I was trying to get a hold of my buddy. I said, dude, just send me your ticket so I can kick these people out. I just want to get rid of them. They were just chirping and being completely annoying. And I tried to be like, look, I know these aren't your seats, so just take a chill. And then the woman, like I said, being a Karen, and she's like, well, you're not even in your seats. I'm like, I got a ticket. I'll show you. So then I was just like, I'm done with you. You're just being ridiculous. So
I love it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what grinds my gears.
All righty. Well, making Michael, if you guys got any ready, make sure to get him ready. But for me,
you two.
I don't know.
That's right.
I want Greg. I want to hear more Greg's soapbox about this. Is what I want to see.
Well, I know, Greg, you had messaged us saying you were really excited for this segment. Was that your main thing, or do you have other?
Yeah, no, that was it. It just it ticks me off. This is not a socialist, proposition. I'm not working so people can sit in my seats. Like, those are my damn seats. Yeah. You want your seats? Go pay for your own seats.
Absolutely. All right.
He is mad about this.
I mean, why? I mean, Macon, come on, bro. You'd be mad too, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, especially they're in my seat, but it's also, I don't know. Yeah, I totally get it, dude. Totally.
I mean, if you had heard this woman just yakking for free, like 4 or 5
I'd be like, could you chill out? Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Well, that kind of goes into mine, but so for me,
really grinds my gears.
That's really just Wake Forest fans and ECU fans all together, man. Like this may be like just like throwing out grass seed, just like not necessarily like sticking grass seed in specific spots, but just kind of throwing it out there. But for me, I mean, the Wake Forest fan side, I remember going over to to one of my buddies, one of my other buddies who's there. I know sitting beside you, Macon, but I caught one of my other buddies who was there and was like, I'm telling you, man, I just don't respect Wake Forest fans. I just don't like them, man. They just bug the crap out of me because they talk a lot of smack for a school that literally doesn't even have a fan podcast. Like they don't even have a fan that's even diehard enough of a Demon Deacon fan to even start, podcast to talk all things, Wake Forest Demon Deacons athletics. that's part A. That just really bugs me. All the chattering and like making, there was some Wake Forest people behind us being like,
yes, there were.
Well, yeah, Kozar was really framing those pitches, and then
what he
when
that's part of the game.
and then
as if their guy isn't basically
right. And then I think 2 pitches later they hit like a fly ball, to Souls or whatever, and I stood up and yelled, "Yeah, good job, Kozar. That was because of your framing. You did a great job framing that fly ball," and just screamed, making sure that person behind me. No, I'm talking about you, bud. So, anyway, but then ECU fans coming in when at my tweet saying that we were a lock and saying y'all aren't a lock. I'm like, nope. And believe it or not, we're probably more of a lock than you are actually right now, which is kind of crazy to think about. But I'm sitting here saying we're number 14 in the RPI. We have the number 5 strength of schedule to even just add a little bit more buzz on top of that. We also have right now series wins over number 2, number 9, number 8, number 9, number 10, and number 11 right now. So
I think we're closer to hosting a top 8 national seed than they are hosting a 16. So that's how much more of a lock that I think we are.
Yeah.
Given the numbers that we kind of referenced earlier.
Well, and especially one ECU fan saying, I just don't think that they're going to, when talking about NC State being a host, saying, I just don't think they're going to have NC State, ECU, and UNC, all 3
You're right.
Teams. Exactly. That was my thought. Yes, you're right. You're not going to be the one hosting, probably. I mean, of the 2, I'm still saying they're going to, but I mean, funny enough, we're more set than they are, which is hilarious. So, but especially ECU fans, and again, let's just add a little bit of, I want to add a little bit of sugar on top for the ECU fans that talk all this smack and have absolutely nothing to talk smack about. So we're going to show this quick TikTok here, which I think just kind of summarizes and puts that final dagger into ECU when it talks about who is the nothing university in terms of college football.
And for the final criteria, you must not is nothing university. Today we set out to answer that question as usual, starting with all 134 FBS teams and narrowing it down through the process of elimination. For the first criteria, you must not be in the top or bottom 30 in winning percentage. So you're not one of the all-time greats and you're not one of the all-time worsts either.
We're out.
For the next criteria, you must have 0 Heisman winners and 0 national titles. So you don't have the greatest individual or team award the sport has to offer. For the next criteria, you must have never won a video on this series. So you never were the final team, the greatest in any criteria that I've come up with. For the next criteria, you must have a 5-year average attendance between 50% and 60%, which isn't terrible and also isn't phenomenally great. So you're not packing the stands and it's not empty either. For the next criteria, you must have had an FBS team since 1990. So it's not been a matter of you just being in the FBS for a short amount of time and not being able to rack up these accolades, but you've been here, they just haven't really come. And for the final criteria, you must not be involved in something bigger than yourself, like MACtion. So that leaves us with East Carolina. East Carolina is nothing university.
I mean, ouch. Am I right?
I want to say their acceptance speech.
Yeah, right. For this award.
It's probably gonna be the most average.
I mean, again, that's my. Which I mean, maybe I'll give a little bit of hats off to EC fans because I don't know how there's so many of them when they have absolutely 0 like accolades or things to hype on or things to stand on. Like nothing. They have nothing for football besides Conference USA conference championships 10, 15 years ago, and baseball, which they haven't been to a World Series maybe ever. Yeah. So, whatever. So yeah, that's what really grinding my gears is ECU and freaking Wake Forest fans. So Michael, making y'all got any before we move on tweets of the week, man?
No, I'm good.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
You guys are so much more chill than late night.
I know.
I'm trying to think of what really grinds my gears. I don't know anything really grinds my gears to this week. I still think it bothers me that there's what about last week? There's such a discrepancy between polls. But I mean, it's whatever.
Well, and part B to that is that ECU moved up 4 spots from number 13 to number 9 after sweeping a below 500 Rice team. Like that really grinds my gears. And then on top of that is the kind of what goes into our next topic here, which is all the App State fans talking. Sorry, go ahead, Greg.
No, yeah, go ahead and finish yours, and then I'll piggy. I think I have an answer for Macon why there's such a disparity.
But kind of when it comes to our first tweet of the week here, all the App State fans with the scared graphic out there with our block S as the S. I'm sitting here like, what are we scared of, honestly? Like, I just don't get it. Like
we're 6-0 all time against them, I think, is what I saw. So
well, and yeah, like we haven't played there in a long time, but is that necessarily all our fault? Probably. No. I mean, it's majority. Maybe.
What do we gain? What do we gain by playing them? We gain
exactly.
You gain a higher profile.
You gain bragging rights in the state a little bit more against them, so you can like say, "Hey, we finally beat you. We finally played you guys and beat you, and the game finally happened."
Yeah.
So you win. So you win the game. Do you think you're going to still recruit better than us over because you won that game?
Right.
No. Like we're still a Power 5 team. Like some guy is probably not going to choose App State over NC State. Probably not.
Probably not. Just throwing it out there. But yeah, no, agreed. So go ahead, Greg, and answer.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking about it. When you talk about the different polls for football and basketball, both on the women's and men's side, there's a big aggregate, right? So even it's one poll, but you have all these voters in those polls, and I would venture to guess that these baseball publications, it's probably one or two people in each publication, and so it's much more subjective. Where if you have 30 people voting, the chances of you coming to more of a consensus is probably better than just 4 to 5 random people. If I had to venture a guess as to why there's such a disparity in those 3 polls.
Yeah. Well, and again, it makes about as much sense as this graphic, which I'm looking at here on the phone, from Rivals, where it asks the question, how did each AC program do in the spring transfer portal window? And it gave us a C. And I'm sitting here like,
who was this?
The Rivals. Literally, Rivals gave us a C in the transfer portal grade. So,
well, you think about it, we didn't really have that much action.
I mean, we filled pretty much every spot that we could, and we got what, 2? We have 2 Ohio State transfers. Which
wait, no, football?
Yeah, football.
No, but springtime, spring game, right?
Oh, and the spring is that what it's considering it?
No, that's what I'm asking. I'm generally asking this question.
Well, it says spring transfer portal window, but I mean,
that's why.
But how's that a C though? I just
Chaz Wallace, Jahad Carter, and
it was more role player dudes. Like we didn't take any big time guys.
Dude. I think Carter could be a starter.
What? So
again, I'm not disagreeing with that, but it's not the haul we had. Yeah, you know what grinds my gears? These stupid polls that Leighton keeps bringing up.
Well,
I think it's crazy, but
I think so. Basically, we can say that poll is absolute crap because again, it's totally a team by team basis.
I don't know. I don't necessarily disagree with it. I mean, we didn't bring any studs, so like we didn't do horrible. We didn't do great. We just filled role. We filled voids.
Sure. Yeah. No. But again, team by team basis.
To me, that's a C.
I'm looking back here. So we brought in 3 guys. We brought in 3 guys. We brought in Jahad Carter, Chaz Wallace, and KJ Martin or Kerry Martin. I
think Carter's gonna be great.
Missed somebody. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was good. Like we did. I think we had such a great fall class that the spring class it was not necessary. But I thought the piece from for a need standpoint, what we needed to get and getting best available, so to speak, I thought we did pretty good. So I'll put it that way.
It's a stupid poll.
Well, no, and agreed. That's what I was getting ready to say. It's these guys are looking for names, right? They don't know Carter. They don't know Wall. Like they're not in it like that. So there's no buzz name in that group. So they're like, oh, that's a C.
Yep, exactly. All right, y'all, let's jump in tweets of the week. So yeah, obviously just like I kind of mentioned to earlier, App State fans are raising heck because we scheduled a home and home series with UVA starting in 2025 and 2026 , and
we should have put an App State logo on here with an X on it.
Right. Well, because again, I do want to confirm that as of right now, we still haven't officially canceled that series yet.
Correct.
So but I mean the writing's pretty much on the wall. So
yeah, I mean, who would you cancel?
Exactly.
Well, who will be playing that season? Let me ask that question.
So 25, you have Notre Dame, you have Campbell, East Carolina, and App State.
You could cancel Campbell. I mean, you could totally cancel Campbell.
No,
but it's complete. Well, you could. I'm just saying, like,
but we never cancel.
You want to get right.
Yeah, we never cancel an FCS team.
Yeah,
you're gonna have.
That's a good point.
You're gonna have the FCS game.
Yeah,
that's fair. I think
what
group of 5 are you canceling? And you're not canceling ECU because that's the return trip from us going there last year. So you're not going to cancel that trip.
Right.
So
you're going to you're going to keep the opportunity at home. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can't cancel Notre Dame.
Right.
So it's going to be App State.
Yeah. So, yeah. Because that's the other point too. Just like you're saying, Greg, where it's like, what's the point? Because it's not FCS, but it's
two group of 5s. You're not going to play 2 group of 5s.
Group of 5. And at the end of the day, if we lose, it's terrible. But if we win, it's like, well, you were supposed to. So yeah, and it's on the road. It's so anyway. But
by the way, in 2026, you can't schedule Vanderbilt instead of UVA because you're already playing Vanderbilt. So UVA is the Vanderbilt of the ACC.
It's true.
So you get credit for a Power 5 without it being a real Power 5.
Go ahead, Macon.
Yeah, I'm just looking here right now. We've got so that means that next year you said your schedule is ECU, UVA, Campbell, and in this case at Notre Dame, and then State's going to play. I'm trying to figure out what the dates are. I've started looking up here.
Well, at the end of the day, that's just those the who we're playing is all that really matters. So
yeah, I'm just looking here. You get Florida State, Georgia Tech, UNC, and Virginia Tech at home. Yeah, and then Duke, Miami, Pitt, Wake Forest on the road. So that's just kind of what the schedule looked like. I'm just pulling up the.
And if I'm not mistaken, isn't the UVA game the day of the App State game?
Yeah, that's the other thing. I think they that day
there you go.
Out and people were like, we play App State that day.
Yeah. So there you go. So let's talk about this specifically though, because the one thing which I do want to touch on is reminding everybody that even though Virginia and NC State, as of these years, are expected to be, and 99% will be in the ACC, it is still not going to be an ACC game. So it's not going to count towards an ACC record. Kind of like what happened to Wake Forest and UNC. What was it? 2 years ago when they just happened to swing. Had all the luck of the Irish go their way that year. So I mean, I don't know, y'all. I mean,
but that one was out of necessity.
Out of necessity? Why necessity? So
because of the ACC rule. The ACC rule had said that you have to play a Power 5 team, and they didn't have one of them didn't have a Power 5 team on their schedule, so they had to scramble and make that a game.
There you go. See, learn something new every day. Look at that. You're the man, Greg. I knew having you on here was for a reason.
Not my good looks and charm for sure.
Exactly. But I mean, do you like this home and home with Virginia?
Honestly, I mean, it's a Power 5 opponent instead of a group of 5, so that's better.
Yep.
Virginia also sucks right now, so it's not going to be the hardest team in the world to play or to beat. Now, will they be better 2 seasons? And if I'm not counting this up,
they might have a new coach.
Yeah, they might have a new coach. I think this is a good game from like a perception standpoint, because the average fan who's not involved in this say, "Oh, if they play Virginia, that's good. That's a good win for them." And it's a non-conference game, fine, but it's something that you're getting early on that can still get you warmed up against Power 5 opponents that can lead you into the rest of your season where you have to play. Who did I say it was? It was
it's Notre Dame.
Well, it was.
You mean ACC schedule? Sorry.
Yeah, ACC schedule wise, it was.
You said Virginia Tech in there. I heard Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech. I'm losing you guys.
Carolina. Obviously, we have Carolina every year.
Well, and here's a real point to it though, is that it's close. It's nearby. It's only a couple hours travel up the road, instead of doing a home and home versus somebody like Minnesota, like UNC, where it's like that's that can do a little bit of numbers. So in terms of not really putting much strain on the players and making it an easy road trip for both teams, I mean it's a win-win for both sides as well, and the fans too. Absolutely.
That's what I said was here was Florida State, Georgia Tech, UNC, Virginia Tech. So that's who you play that same year you do this. So you got, I mean, those are not, the other teams are not, those are good teams. I think so that year will be, getting a Virginia game makes sense. If you project them to not be strong, then that's a good matchup for State. I mean, I think it's good. And really all that matters in football is wins. And so you get a win there. It's a pretty easy win with the perception of being a Power 5 team. Okay, that's a good, relatively smart game to schedule.
Yep.
The other thing I was going to throw in there is we recruit the state of Virginia, really heavy, and so that's a good feather in your cap, if you will. And you got a lot of players from that
eyeballs in the game.
Virginia. And I think some of this is directed from the ACC as well. Not playing with FSU getting left out. It's it's about the perception of the league, and I think not playing road games against G5 teams is kind of part of that.
Yeah,
I don't think Florida State did last year, but just in general, that's definitely a thing that it's just not
to that point
kind of a lose scenario, especially on the road. Like,
to your point, Michael, that's 2 group of 5 teams in the same season. Like that's not going to that perception thing is very evident at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So our next tweet of the week here, got to give a shout out to our NC State football team for getting the highest cumulative GPA in NC State football history, which again for some people who I don't really know what you're thinking, but your priorities in the wrong place. You'd say, well, what does that matter? Who cares? At the end of the day, it's all about, just like you said, it's all about wins, right? Well, no, at the end of the day, it's you got to be able to offer not only just an opportunity to compete, have a opportunity at the NFL, not only an opportunity to win championships, not only an opportunity to play close to home, but also an opportunity to get a college degree at a outstanding university. And right now, that basically is what screams to me that Coach Doeren and this coach staff is doing, and the entire football staff in general is doing a phenomenal job on giving these guys all of the resources that they need to be successful in one of the toughest roles there is in life, which is being a student athlete. Which I mean, for those who disagree with me on that, I would say you should like I think maybe 6 years ago they did like a Naeem Hines day in the life. Institute Football did like a day in life for Naeem Hines, and they need to do another one here again. Just kind of update that a little bit here. But I mean, it's a 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. job every single day. It is nonstop in terms of recovery, practice, classes, homework, eating, nutrition, you name it. It's like meetings, it's nonstop all day. So, to be as successful as we have been under Doeren in terms of wins on the field, combined with the highest cumulative GPA in NC State football history over this last year, I mean, A++++ to Coach Doeren. That's pretty much all that means in my head. So, any other thoughts on that?
Sorry, I fanboyed out for a second. I was just checking something on Twitter, and Ellie Avent liked something and retweeted it, so I felt kind of cool for 30 seconds.
You are yeah. So sorry, y'all. My light went out.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I think to kind of go on for your lane saying it's you can be an athlete, but the grades in some ways matter more, and getting that education is really good. So that for those guys to in some ways make history from an athletic side for the program, that's a big deal. So
I think to that point too, that just goes to the type of character that Coach Doeren is bringing into the program, and just that's the type of people he wants is a student athlete plus athlete, right? It's both parts to that statement.
Yep. Well, and the saying that my former boss, head equipment manager Country, always told me. He said there's a reason why student is before athlete. That the student has to become before the athlete side, which I'm like, That's good. So that's something that stood with me even now to this day, and I'm sure that Coach Doeren and his staff do a great job of making that message very, very clear to the all the players that student needs to come first, even before the athlete. So yeah, love that. And then loved hearing news as well with the Broncos signing former Bears punter Trenton Gill, Pac Pro Trenton Gill, and I wanted to also bring this up because there was a tweet out there which, luckily enough, by the help of Trenton Gill, I was able to quickly debuff, which was saying that the Broncos have released Trenton Gill literally like 2 hours after the announcement came here that he was signed, and all these people saying, no, he was let go. Like, man, this guy had the shortest career in the for on a team in the history of the NFL, and basically from talking subtly to Trenton Gill, he basically confirmed that yes, I am still a member of the Broncos. I've not been released.
Straight from the source.
Yeah, right from the source. So yes. So
I mean, if anyone would know,
it would be Trenton.
I would hope so.
I think it'd be Trenton. So yeah. So I mean, again, building off that, having Trenton and what he's done now a few years now in the NFL, combined with what you're seeing with like guys like AJ Cole, who's arguably a top 3 punter in the NFL right now. I mean, he's made the one. I mean, I agree. Yeah, I'm saying top 3 is generous, but yeah.
Well, and the reason I would say top 1 or 2 is, I mean, he was an All-Pro. I mean, there's only one at that position. Like,
right.
It's not.
Yeah. So and he's been in every single year that he's been in the pros, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
So I mean, yeah, top 2, top 1. I agree with you there, Greg. So yeah, PU baby, NC State is PU.
Plus, he's a really cool dude to begin with. Like,
yeah. Oh, totally.
We saw him at the Final Four, and he was just cool to talk to for a minute or two.
Super AJ Cole?
Yeah, AJ Cole. Yeah.
He's a good man.
Super humble dude. Unlike me.
Okay.
That's an inside joke with Macon.
Yeah. Humility and how I achieved it.
So 2 big pieces of news from the basketball side, which Macon, I want to get your thoughts on here. But first of all, the news that the man, the myth, the legend himself, Ernest, the goggles man, Ross, has decided to return after his initial commitment to UTSA and decided to come back to NC State for another year. In this upcoming season, and I think because 2 things really came out of this. One, technically, as of right now, our scholarships are all filled for men's basketball. Now, I know from IPS and Pac Pride, all of them have basically hinted very publicly that we're still probably not done yet. And in terms of who's maybe leaving, I would say go to one of those insiders and you'll find that out there. But I really do agree, because all the talk is saying, well, this guy barely played a minute or 2 minutes a game last year and like averaged like probably 1 to 2 points a game. Like why is it such a big deal? And I mean, basically everybody said, and I couldn't agree more, that it's really a culture thing. I mean, this guy, what he publicly meant, from all the players you heard, from all the coaching staffs talking about Ernest, I mean, this guy was a team first guy in the locker room. He's a guy that really built and helped create a culture at NC State that really helped propel a lot of the success you saw in the postseason last year. And if you say, well, what does culture really matter? Ask 2023 NC State football. I mean, that culture is what got you that winning streak to end the season. I mean, without guys like Peyton Wilson coming out saying, hey, NC State fans, we need to stop booing Brandon Armstrong, without a guy like Brandon Armstrong saying, hey, listen, I know I'm benched, but I need you all to play your butts off for MJ Morris. Without those guys, without that culture, you do not see the success we did last year. Plain and simple. It's easy as that. So culture goes a long ways. So in my opinion, that's really what this is. But I mean, Macon, do you see a potential for, Ernest Ross being a role player at all for this team next year?
Oh, it's a role, but I don't know if it's going to be a whole lot on the court. So he's going to be a guy that is going to be. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's true. But
but it's the way you said it.
It's just the fact that he is. He was. I think you said a lot what you said, Layden. He was there for the run. He's been there for the last few years. He's a guy that seems very unselfish. Yeah. Good person to be around. He is a great locker room guy. It seems like. And it seems like his personality has kind of rolled over to the fans, right? Because they've seen his personality. But Ernest is a really, he's a really good guy. I mean, Ernest is a really, when he's been on the court, he's had moments. I think was it last year or this year he had a big game against Miami.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. And when I mean, like I know he came in the Final Four, was in the Elite Eight game. He came in and hit a bucket going into halftime.
That was the Carolina game.
That was the ACC championship.
Yeah. So the guy knows the system too. I mean, like you don't have to go and try to guess what you have in somebody else you're bringing in. You know what you got in Ernest. Yep. So I think that probably has some value to the coaches.
I think the other part of it too is like he left and then he was willing to come back. Like, so there's no ego there, if that makes sense. Like, you know, they like just because he left didn't mean that all things were cut off. Like he could have been like, all right, see you, I'm out. Like it's been fun. But the fact that not only the coaching staff wanted him back, but he absolutely wanted to come back, which is still an interesting thing.
Well, and especially because more than likely, and if this happened, then I don't know what Keats and them are smoking, but I can almost guarantee that basically when the conversations with Ernest started back up again, they didn't say, all right, Ernest, I will guarantee you that you will see a raise in minutes to a significant level, or I guarantee anything. Like basically, basically what I'm saying is that I'm sure that what progress has been made in the transfer portal didn't necessarily affect the decision to go back to Ernest. I really think it was just like, if I had to guess, it was kind of basically just a mutual conversation. Like, yeah, do you want to come back? We would love to have you as a part of the locker room, as a part of this team, you know, when needed. But in terms of him being, just like you said, a substantial differentiator next year, I don't think he's that. And I don't think that we're planning for him to be that. So, Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to, I mean, obviously, you know, we can speculate here a little bit and have a little fun with this, but
go for it.
Do we think that we might have, like, I don't know, for lack of a better word, pushed him out because we thought something else was coming in, and then that didn't come to fruition, and then we brought him back? Because everything just seemed kind of odd about it.
I don't think you settled for him, though. Yeah, I don't think you settled for him.
That happens, my impression, Greg. But I thought it was interesting that he committed to UTSA and
pretty quickly,
like, nah, I'm going to go back to state. Which tells me maybe he's part of one is if he's just a kid, like he's still like a young kid trying to figure things out. I want to do this. Yeah, I don't. I want to go back over here. So maybe you just want to have fun with it. I don't know.
Well, here, you know what? I'll tell you probably what if I were to put money on it, I think that's really what it was. You know, did any of y'all ever watch the show Friday Night Lights at all? Did any of y'all ever watch that show?
Not enough.
Well, basically, you know, for those who haven't seen the show, it's a great show. I've watched it a few times, and I've actually watched it with my wife as well. We loved it. But basically, it's a show about basically Texas football and this guy who wanted to go to this big school that was called TMU, and which is not actually a thing, and which like basically like a Texas A&M, like a big Power 5 school in the Friday Night Lights world. And basically, they didn't offer him, and he was offered basically a scholarship to go play like a D3. And basically Tim Riggins, who was one of the characters, he basically told him like don't be ashamed to say, you know what, it's been great, it's been fun, but it's time to leave it behind, you know. And so maybe Ernest kind of came to the conclusion saying, you know what, maybe instead of going to UTSA and, you know, yeah, I'm going to play a lot, but, you know, it's going to be, you know, not as great, not being a way smaller environment, you know, with a back end shot to make the NCAA tournament, things like that, and probably no shot of any kind of NBA career, you know, a long shot of a you know, European overseas career, which I mean still can happen for sure, but you know, probably not now, especially now coming to state. He says, you know what, instead of going through all that, why don't I come back to NC State where I had the time of my life? I can go get a grade A education in one of the top schools in the country and finish that out. And, you know, I could still be a role player where needed. You know, I can just like with Miami 2 years ago, step in if needed, and I can do my job. I can do my part. I mean, maybe that's just kind of a conversation he had with himself saying, you know what, UTSA, I don't think it's really for me. So why don't I just go back? I'd rather go back to NC State where I was happy than go to a UTSA where I may play a lot, but I may be like, man, like thinking back about my time at NC State. That's at least my thought. That, like, I think that's what makes sense. I think he just had a little bit of a conversation with himself, saying, would I rather have an opportunity to play a lot, or would I rather go somewhere or stay somewhere where I'm really, really happy? So
and have some fun.
Exactly. So my thoughts there, but
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. And then one more from the basketball side with the announcement of Brett Nelson joining the NC State men's basketball staff after leaving UMass and the staff there, and spent a couple of years at Marquette as well, from I think it was 2014 to 2019. Which I know you making you and I were kind of talking a little bit about this at the game on Friday, but when we hired Joel Justice, for example, who was a guy that came from Kentucky and that we're like, man, that's a great hire right there. But with Brett, it's like, I don't really get it right now. To be honest with you, I don't really understand the hire.
Yeah, to me, I think this is a guy who, when you can get a chance to get a guy with head coaching experience, some guys just aren't head coaches, right? They just don't get the job done, right? And I think that's what you have here in Brett Nelson. Doesn't mean he can't ever be that. It just means that it didn't really work out for him this time around.
Was he still the coach there at UMass when we got him just now, or was he fired?
Holy Cross. Holy Cross.
Oh, Holy Cross.
Yeah, he was an assistant at UMass, I believe.
Okay, so he was the head coach at Holy Cross right now.
And here's the thing, that was the last thing he did well, because they don't even want to mention the Holy Cross thing because he did not do great there. So, so that's fine. But from what I've read on him, he was a really good shooter he's a really good shooter in college. And usually when you're a really good assistant, when you get a head coaching job, that means you were a pretty good assistant somewhere. So I think it's a good hire. I just don't know a lot about him to know.
It's not a buzz name, right?
Yeah, he's a guy.
Well, but what hole is he filling? Like, what is he really going to help us with? That's really the question I'm trying to figure out. Like, what is he going to do for us?
Well, I think you would hope that he's going to be a really good recruiter, because that was what Justice was crushing,
But that's the thing, though, is like, he doesn't really have the background to prove that he's a great recruiter. I mean, just because of his, where he was, things like that. But also too, how much is
maybe it is a bad hire.
Well, and again, because recruiting is not really a thing much anymore. With the transfer portal, it's just not really.
I mean, you still got to recruit him out of the transfer portal.
Okay, but it's a different game. So
I get what you're saying. I get what you're both saying. Yeah, it's to me, maybe it is a bad hire. I have no idea, because I would tell you what, though, I didn't know who the heck Joel Justice was beforehand. So,
but you saw his resume.
Yeah, I did, and he was.
The names jumped off the paper. Yeah, the names. Yeah, the names of the school jumped off the paper.
Right, and again, maybe this guy never turns out to be much of anything. I don't know, right? But.
I really hope he's not listening to you right now.
I'm trying to be honest. I don't know a lot about that guy.
Right.
I've heard good shooter in college. I imagine that translates over to working with shooters on State's teams, so maybe the guards,
which we can use.
Yeah, I can see that. I think your point, Greg. I've read somewhere that he was probably he might be kind of like a recruiter kind of guy for State, which is fine. And he is a guy that has a previous head coaching position. So. And because he probably was at least a decent assistant, so he's young too, so it's something that he's going to grow as a professional in his career too. I just I don't know. I mean, it's not something where I'm like, whoa, they got this guy, but it's like, okay, it's fine, it's whatever. I mean, at this point, the staff has done enough for me to trust them, right? So they brought in Kareem Richardson, Joel's Justice, and they had the guy went to Eastern Kentucky. I cannot remember his name.
Yeah, Hamilton.
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 Yeah, and then and they got the guy, and I'm blanking his name, from Ole Miss, who's on the staff now.
Levi Watkins.
Yeah, so they've hired some pretty good assistants for the most part. They hired that one guy as a high school coach that left. I didn't really get that. But
all right, Macon, I think we've confirmed you don't remember a lot of the assistant coach names, and that's okay. That's okay, man. Well, but again, with each one of those guys, I can point to a reason, whether that's Keats knows them previously, or they're in-state alumni, or they are really successful there. But that's just a question for me that, hey, Brad Nelson, if you're listening, go prove me wrong, brother. I have no issues, man. Shut me up real quick. I'm here for it. But that's just my concern. I'm just sitting here like, well, what was the reason, Keith?
Well, I think a lot of people, to kind of wrap this up, is it didn't jump off the paper. It was one of those that, okay, it's in the middle of a nice baseball run. It came out on like Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever it came out. It didn't scream, holy crap, we got this dude. He's just gonna go fill a void and hopefully be successful. And he's an assistant coach. Like are we supposed to get that excited about assistant coaches? I don't know. I think we're kind of making a mountain out of a molehill on this.
I agree. Yeah, I agree there. So
got something to talk about.
Exactly.
It filled 5 minutes.
That's right.
5 exhilarating moments.
Yeah. No, man. Frank, appreciate you there, man. So couple quick ones, touch points here. So softball wise, got to give a quick shout out to Lindsay Leftwich and this crew. Coach Lindsay Leftwich in her first season with NC State softball is the only first-year Power 5 coach this season to have a winning record, which is great, and also to the highest RPI of any first-year head coach as well at 53. And then NC State softball last year was one of only 4 Power 5 schools to win 10 more games this year than they did last year. So a great improvement already in just year one from Coach Lindsay Leftwich with NC State softball, y'all. So huge things to come, exciting things to come for sure, and excited to see what this team can do in 2025. So looking forward to it.
So stupid question time. Do they put as many teams in the softball as they do the baseball?
Yes, it's
53 RPI is not bad. I mean, they almost should have been in the conversation.
Well, but when you don't even qualify for your conference tournament, that's pretty much
who cares. Conference tournament's overrated.
They played well out of conference and then had like one of the hardest in conference schedules. So that's.
But I think they won as many games in the conference as they did last year with a harder schedule. So you know what I mean? Like that's
right. Yeah. Nope. Absolutely. Yeah. No. So
next year is
going to be a good one. Looking forward to it. Also, too, got to give a shout out as well to Pac Pro Diana Schneider as well, former NC State women's tennis player who won a thriller to win a singles title, a WTA singles title, and right now it's ranked up all the way up to number 47 in the world, the 47th best women's tennis player in the world right now, which is pretty incredible to think about, really.
Yeah.
Again, if you're talking about in the world, the 47th best women's tennis player, that's pretty phenomenal.
And she was in the 90s last year when she played here at State. So, I mean, she's already jumped, halfway to number 1, if you want to think about it in those terms, in just 1 year's worth of play, and not even, and just barely a full year on the tour.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also too, Brazier reminding shout out to TJ Warren as well for going to the NBA conference finals with the Minnesota Timberwolves as well. So shouts to the Pac Pros there. Making you watch much of the Timberwolves, man, with your man TJ Warren?
No, but I did see that they the Nuggets choked that game away against the Timberwolves. And I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. Because I know Jokic has now won his third MVP and third in a row.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 3 out of 4 years.
Yeah. Okay. And
so Embiid won it last year.
But I'm gonna tell you what, dude. Anthony, I can't remember. Edwards. That, oh my gosh, that dude is really good. So he's not. I know somebody looking around Michael Jordan. He's not that, but
yeah.
No, it was out there, Greg. It was out there, dude. I'm just saying, like 3 or 4 games ago, people were saying, I'm like, you guys must be crazy.
Yeah.
He had 2 moves that he kind of did that were like the same.
His move,
Michael did.
He's got a couple moves.
So
his body type, like his physically, like if you put him side by side, they look very similar.
Michael Jordan is the last person I want to give compliments to, but no. No.
So my whole thing is, though, I think it's great that TJ has gotten moved on. He's going to now play. Is it the Pacers? I think it's the Pacers.
No,
maybe?
no.
Mavs. It's the West.
Mavs.
That's right. So Doncic,
Pacers,
which is crazy. Like TJ Warren a month and a half ago was out of the league.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 months.
I mean, hey, that's one way to win in the ring, man. Just ride the coattails of some guys who are really, really good. So.
Is he getting PT? I don't even really watch the NBA. Is he getting some PT?
No, I don't think so. I don't watch it, to be honest with you either. So, answer your question is, Lane. No, I did not see it.
4 minutes later, we got to the answer.
No. And then last one as well, I got to give a shout out as well to Sophie Abrams with the women's tennis team as well, who won the Elite 90 award for her performance on the court and also too in the classroom. She had a 4.0 GPA in biological sciences. That is crazy to think about, a 4.0 while being a student athlete. That's insane.
Yeah, that's impressive.
That's impressive. And like it's not like a 4.0 in like some, lower degree. Like we're talking, basket weaving. Yeah, right. We're talking biological sciences. That's pretty good. So so it's a huge shout as well as Sophie Abrams and that entire women's tennis team program, who's just continuing to prove that they're one of the elite programs in college tennis.
We got a couple of ladies playing in singles play now in the NCAA championship.
Yep, exactly. So
started today. Same with the men.
It's a good time. So all right, making Greg, Michael, any final thoughts before we wrap this thing up, man?
No, man, I'm ready to go record an ACC baseball preview.
Yeah, let's go win the ACC tournament.
Let's go. So Wolfpack Nation. So we start off our ACC tournament postseason run on Wednesday night, 7 p.m. At Truist Field in Charlotte, North Carolina versus Virginia Tech, and then we'll face Duke Thursday night, 7 p.m. So 24 hours later.
Real quick, Greeny one. We will be the we'll talk about this in the preview as well, but we will be the visiting team on Wednesday night, and then the home team on Thursday. So
yes, I think Razor and then somebody else asked that question. G Shay asked that question earlier. So away team for Virginia Tech and home for Duke,
which I think is the way I would want it, because if everything plays out, we want the Duke game, and so you'll want last at bat.
Duke is going to win the first one. Yeah,
right.
But we'll talk about it.
Yeah, no. So again, if you're interested on how all this works, if you're interested on our thoughts on the matchup and our chances at truly winning Avon's first ever ACC conference championship, make sure again y'all tune in for our preview, which will come out tomorrow night. So
I want to give a cliffhanger. Ooh. Don't be surprised if the Virginia Tech game matters.
Yeah, that's a good little cliffhanger there, y'all. So. Yeah, buddy. That's right. Because Macon's gonna be. That's why it matters, Greg. So, man,
it just matters more. It just matters more.
I ruined it. I gave it away. Sorry, Greg. All right, Wolfpack Nation. Again, make sure y'all to tune in for our AC tournament preview tomorrow night, when it goes live. And if you haven't already, for us, y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure y'all hit that like button. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to us, if you wouldn't mind, leave us a 5-star review. Greatly appreciate that as well. Make sure to give us a follow. Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, y'all. We love you guys. We appreciate y'all. It's a great time to be an NC State fan. It is the best time ever to be an NC State fan. Enjoy it, love it, and let's go win some games here, y'all. We'll see y'all soon, and go Pack, baby.